convicted felon no more. Some breaking news on that front.
Fox News alert now, and some developments in the hush money case of Donald Trump in a New York City courtroom. The New York judge, Juan Merchan, has granted Trump permission to file a motion to dismiss that case. He's already said that he was going to delay sentencing for a little while. He says now that he is going to delay sentencing even further. How long this goes on is anybody's guess at this point. Obviously, the judge is going to consider this motion to dismiss. Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA, agreed that Trump's attorneys should have an opportunity to file a motion to dismiss, to be considered by Judge Merchan. But here's the thing, is that Bragg and his office are willing, if Judge Merchan does not grant the motion to dismiss, Bragg and his office are willing to wait.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the Fox guy there, because you know what, he will. If he doesn't, we get a whole other scenario right on our hands. But I actually think he's going to do the right. I hope he does the right thing here. He's indicated that they should file that motion to dismiss. Now, one would think that he would grant that, right? I mean, he's no longer, at least anyway, a convicted felon once that has been dismissed.
Something that I'm still struggling with, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on, is how did a convicted felon resonate more with Americans than a hyper-qualified woman of color? Do you think that racism and misogyny played any part in this election?
Well, you know, listen, I think that Vice President Harris was eminently qualified. Mm-hmm. And I supported her with everything that I had, and I think so many Americans did. It was a close election at the end of the day. Didn't break in her direction. I think we all are going to unpack as part of our after-action analysis. How did this happen?
Yeah.
Where did we fall short? I do think that the emerging lesson, separate and apart from reasons may be connected to race and misogyny, is that the economy was the dominant theme for a lot of folks, particularly when you consider that in many communities of color, there was movement away from the Democratic candidate and toward the former president. But I think we have to unpack it all. And it's understandable that there's great disappointment amongst a lot of people. You know, she represented tremendous hope for a new day in the United States of America. But Shirley Chisholm took a step forward. Hillary Clinton took a step forward. Now Kamala Harris is taking a step forward.
Geraldine Ferraro.
Geraldine Ferraro. Shout out to Queens, New York. And Geraldine Ferraro took an incredible step forward. That was all part of the path to where we will eventually get to in the United States of America.
Yeah. Okay. So this Sonny wants to keep saying, and Whoopi as well, but she's been muzzled somehow, that it's all about race, it's all about gender. And it's like, guys, have you not seen what's going on? Have you not seen the insane inflation that Americans are confronting? I mean, they're just oblivious to reality. This is what people are facing, a 57% increase in car insurance. Guess what? They're not making 57% more. So sure, okay, Rachel, maybe you're feeling it, Rachel Maddow, because instead of making $30 million, you're now making 25. Oh, gosh, that hurts, right? Well, she's not feeling it. And Sonny Houston is not feeling it. And eggs up 70%. Listen, everyday Americans are feeling that. And ultimately, between that and the circus that we had going on in the border, plus you factor in the instability in the world with Ukraine firing American-made missiles into Russia and Russia firing back. I mean, that's where we are right now. Thanks to some really shoddy work by the Biden-Harris administration. So there's no way that people were going to double down on that again. There's just no way. And they're delusional the way they ran that campaign. All they did was spend money. And I think they spent a lot of money on a lot of media members. Reports that Al Sharpton got $500,000 just days before he did an interview with Kamala Harris. Of course, you heard about the Megan Thee Stallion and the Eminem and what's that woman's name? Lizzo, who wants to make us into Detroit, getting millions of dollars to show up for Kamala. I mean, people saw through it, okay? They saw through it. And isn't that great? They sat there and they told us he's a convicted felon. Why? Because they went after him every which way to Sunday with every ridiculous lawsuit you could imagine. They kept going back and going back and going back. And believe me, they want to go back some more. Letitia James, she's about to get her case thrown out. Court of Appeals, it's over. I mean, it was over before it began. If you look at some of the courtroom stuff. And yet, here's this woman insisting that somehow she's going to power on with what?
I will not fear Donald Trump. I have steel in my backbone. And the reality is I will not allow this person, Donald Trump, who unfortunately is a broken man, to get in the way of progress and to separate.
Progress. He's going to separate us. You know what? You guys have done everything you possibly could to separate us. And in case you have any doubt, the woman who is about to get fired, like, I mean, if she's under contract, good. But, you know, if I were them, I'd tear up that contract today. I would absolutely tear up that contract today. I'm talking about Joy Reid because of her comments. She's actually, really frankly, pretty dangerous in my estimation, the way she's talking about, okay, well, no, you don't want to have anything to do with white women now. If you're a black woman, just these white women like somehow go away. I mean, this is really wacky stuff and dangerous type stuff. And this is what they're about. Okay. This is what they're about. I want to play it for you again, because you got to understand how crazy this woman really and truly is, if I can find it here, because this is just, I couldn't believe this. I'm like, how is she still employed? This is so irresponsible. Why would you allow this on the air? I just can't believe it.
People are rightfully alarmed. They have a reason to be alarmed. And if you would vote for that, people may not feel so confident that they're safe with you. This is not crazy. This is legitimate feelings of fear of you and a feeling that you might not be someone they could trust. If this thing goes way south, autocracies go south real fast and things get ugly and people get asked to do things and turn people in and point people out and turn on them. And if you're voting affirmatively, gleefully for this, and people might, I don't know, may not feel so confident in you anymore. That's real, and you kind of have to live with it. So if you think that you can vote for what people see as their destruction and then demand that they still are cool with you and kiki with you and have Thanksgiving with you, like, I think you're kind of missing the point of what people are upset about. They're afraid. And autocracy and fascism are things that are legitimate to be afraid of. So you may want to step back.
Oh, wow. And then, of course, she doubled down and said, if you're a white woman, don't be inviting us to any of your anti-Trump rallies, because I guess she sees that they somehow failed her and she's going to double down on this division. So, yeah, I would fire her, you know what, like ASAP, really, really, really fast. So there are these people out there that are going to just perpetuate this narrative. But what kind of narrative is it, really? I mean, nobody believed it, obviously. And now KJP, who was asked about this less than 24 hours ago, basically admitted as much. He's not an existential threat. I mean, that's why everything's carrying on just like normal.
It's been more than 2 weeks since the election. This was an election that elected a man that President Biden has repeatedly referred to as an existential threat. So why is it that the American people have not heard President Biden talk about this threat since the election?
Because there was an election and the American people spoke. Mm-hmm. The will of the American people were very clear. Right? And so the president is now in a situation where we have to deal with a peaceful transfer of power. We have to respect the will of the American people. And that's what you have been seeing from this president, trying to lead by example to make sure that that happens. And that's what the American people deserve. That's what the president deserves. And that's what I think he was very clear about in Rose Garden when he delivered his remarks 2 days after the election. And he said, he was very honest. He said, these, and again, I'm not quoting him exactly, but these were not the results that we had wanted. Right? And that's just being honest. They weren't.
But we're not going to talk about the existential threat anymore. What do you know? Amazing how that just kind of all went away. It all went away except in some corners of the universe over on MSNBC, which, you know what? I believe in free speech. She absolutely has the right to say that stuff. I don't really think it should be part of mainstream America. However, mainstream legacy media television, you don't need that. Or maybe the answer is everybody just keeps on coming over here and keeps coming over here because we actually tell the truth. And imagine, I mean, I'm blown away by what they did, for example, on the laptop. I'm blown away with the Russia. I'm blown away by that virus couldn't possibly have come from the lab in Wuhan, China. I mean, guys, like, do you think we're stupid? I think they think we are positively stupid